What's going on, Jeromes? A beautiful day for some Q&A. Thank you, everyone who submitted questions. Let's get it on. Scully. About past Vikings, the first season that I remember watching was the 2009 season with Bert Favre, and I was too young and couldn't comprehend football. Back then, I was 5 or 6 years old. I know the Vikings had a down year in 2010 after 2009. I want to ask what happened during the offseason and during the 2010 season that caused the Vikings to have a bad year. Love the content. I watch you basically every day. Hey, thank you. Well, I think a lot of it was Favre really didn't want to come back for that second year. I think that 2009 and Saints Bountygate, I think that psychologically as well as physically took a toll on him, and he was really showing his age in 2010. 2009, you can make a case that was his best season in the NFL, and he allegedly won MVP awards with the greasy grimy Green Bay Packers, right? But 2010 was just different. I feel like 2009, everything came together. But 2010, there was injuries, and that whole squad was an older, veteran-laden team as it was. And I honestly think that there was a bit of an emotional hangover because that team was supposed to win the Super Bowl, right? And when they came up short, and the way that Saints game went down, out even beyond the whole Bountygate thing, but just the fumbles, the mistakes, the Ben Lieber phantom pass interference. I mean, the the Favre interception, obviously. The Vikings had so many chances to win that game, and they didn't. And they would have rolled up the Colts in that Super Bowl pretty easily. So I think that was a part of it. And 2010 was just a weird season, right? So the dome collapsed, which was an apt metaphor. The Vikings were bad as it was. Also, the Vikings traded for Randy Moss for a month. They gave up a third-round pick. Literally on Monday Night Football at the Jets, Favre threw a touchdown to Randy Moss. So what kind of fever dream was this? Plus, I think that Childress did have the oversized ego, and the fact that he went to the NFC title game and he was fired mid-season the next year, I think that says a lot about the situation. So the wheels really fell off, and it was just an absolute mess, and that led to Leslie Frazier in 2011. So I don't know, maybe you do catch lightning in a bottle once, but they're trying to do it twice, and obviously that didn't work. Yeah. Next, Smug OD. One of the two. Where do you think Jordan Mason will rank among running backs at the end of the season? So this is probably talk about fantasy. So I think in PPR, I mean, it's not that he is unable to catch passes. He just wasn't put in those situations with the 49ers. Now, Kevin Collins talked about him as a pass protector and pass catcher, so that gives me a little bit of hope. But also, I think Aaron Jones is going to get a ton of that work. So I think that he'll be basically inert in PPR. He didn't even make the cutoff here. Jones is at 22 because you do have Mason probably taking up a lot of the short yardage goal line work. And Mason was 43 in these composite rankings from ESPN. So I think that non-PPR, I mean, he'll have some value. And, of course, if there's an alien abduction, hopefully not, I mean, obviously he would take over the workload. But overall, I think that he and Jones will together will be a great timeshare. I think they'll be top 10 in terms of scoring rankings, and I think it'll work out for the Vikings. But fantasy-wise, standalone value, probably not much. But, of course, things can change. Yeah. Next, Nate Knows Wrestling. On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with the Vikings cornerback secondary? I think it's decrepit. Wow. And will be our downfall, and we need to make an addition. Would you be open to acquiring Asante Samuel Jr. or Jalen Ramsey? Speaking of decrepit. If so, what would you be willing to give up? Nothing. Not trading. Obviously, Jar and Asante Samuel are free agents. Jalen Ramsey probably going to be cut. I have no interest in trading for him in that contract. So basically what it comes down to is money. Now, the Vikings do have the cap space, but I think they are going to roll into training camp with this secondary. And we've been over it. I think that this secondary is a lot better than the national media jabroni haircuts think. Because think about it. The Vikings lost Shaq Griffin and Bobby McCain and Fabian Moreau. Fabian Moreau. I'm trying. Who's the tight end? Was that Foster Moreau? Whatever. As well as Stephon Gilmore. I mean, Stephon Gilmore was straight up bad last year. towards the end of last season. And re-signing Murph, bringing in Rodgers, who's a hot commodity, the resurgence of Blackman, new to year 2, Okudah, trying to have some redemption song, and Theo Jackson, I think, is a perfectly fine replacement for Beasley. So I'm not worried about the secondary, especially with a better pass rush up front. Now, it could be an assessment period in training camp. The Vikings see what they have once the corner is able to press, once the reps go live, once there is pads on, as well as in the preseason. But overall, I don't think that they need to make a move right now. If they do, fine. But I think that they'll assess what they have. And frankly, I don't think that Jair or Asante Samuel Jr. or Ramsey are going anywhere anytime soon. So there will be some time to assess and potentially make a move if they have to. Next, John Matthews. Let's say 2 years from now, if the Vikings have had some success but no Super Bowls, would you trade a Deflategate level scandal with similar ramifications for one guaranteed Super Bowl win? Basically, you trade culture and reputation for winning? No. Because Kevin O'Connell is in a different galaxy from stupid-ass Sean Payton. Douche. 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 Also, a lot of fan bases around the league still see the Saints Super Bowl as an asterisk. Like, they haven't been to another one since. And, by the way, you forget that in the division round, they ended Kurt Warner's career with the Cardinals. I mean, same thing, right? And essentially, for all intents and purposes, they ended Favre's as well, because 2010, we'll talk about 2010. So, no. All right? It's almost like the Houston Astros World Series thing with the garbage can banging. Like, I don't know. There has to be a degree of honor involved in that, and the Saints Super Bowl, I will never recognize it. It had no honor the way that they won, and the Vikings, we've suffered for so long. I would pass, as opposed, you'd have a Super Bowl. No, you could still win the right way, and the Vikings, I think, have the makings of a team that, hey, 2 years from now, if they haven't won a Super Bowl, but they're still in that mix, say that they're the Buffalo Bills for the last couple of years, they'll still have a shot. As long as they got Kevin O'Connell, as long as they have J.J. McCarthy, if and when he pans out, Justin Jefferson, etc. Like, this core has a chance to be very good for a long time, right? And also, I just don't think that's in Kevin O'Connell's nature. Stupid-ass Sean Payton basically sold his soul to Greg Williams, and I don't see that. Plus, I don't think that Flores would ever put up with anything like that either. Right, so I think that there's honor and the right way to do things, and the Vikings do that. Saints did not, and never going to forgive them. Never going to forgive them because they're poop faces. Lastly, B. Langley, Blangley. Least favorite Viking in the past 5 years. Mine's Marcus Davenport. Davenport's up there, but just in terms strictly performance, right? Because they seem like really good dudes. So Bradbury, 1. Kirk Cousins is also up there too. Because for so many years, we had to sit here and try to gas him up, right? Because we had no other choice. Basically, it's not state-funded propaganda, but it's state-funded adjacent propaganda. Where it's like, he's our quarterback, he's my guy, we're going to make the best of it. But it was not the best of it. And with Bradbury, it's more frustration that he clearly was one of the worst centers in the game. He fought the good fight, but he's undersized. He got manhandled in key spots, and defense coordinators knew it. And you could see, the way that defense coordinators lined up the D-line or sent their blitzes, that everything was designed to get Bradbury singled up one-on-one, usually against a powerful nose tackle or D tackle, right? And he would not win those one-on-one spots. And it happened over and over and over and over again. And not only did the Vikings not bring in a replacement, they extended him, right? And then Bradbury had those back issues for across 2 years, and still no change until this offseason. But I do give Kwesi a lot of credit because he could have just stood pat. I mean, a lot of teams would have done that. It's like, we'll fix them. Nah, but overall, those two, Davenport as well, and I don't know. I can't really think of anyone else throwing a bus. I know that I've talked bad about Gilly in the past, but I think Gilly's a good dude. On the field, but it sort of is what it is. right? But Kirk Cousins is such an easy choice, too, because, hey, must be the money. But also, Kirk Cousins is frustrating because so the late, great Chris Wessling over at NFL.com had something called the Dalton scale, referring to Andy Dalton. All right, so when the Red Rifle was with the Bengals, he was solid. Like, he was a solid top 10 quarterback. I think he made a Pro Bowl or two in there, too, and the Bengals were competitive. But you're in a spot where it's like, can't find a better man, but also, was that quarterback going to win you a Super Bowl? No. So you're sort of stuck in limbo, paying a premium contract to a quarterback who's good but not good enough, and who's bad but not bad enough to move on, because you're worried that you can't improve whoever you get next. And that's where Kirk Cousins was for a long time. It's almost like getting rid of Stockholm syndrome. I can see clearly now the Kirk Cousins is gone. Good times. But I don't have to fake feelings about J.J. McCarthy. So there you go. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. Q&A on this beautiful day. You guys are the best you know to do. Skol production value.